Every idol anime has the same problem. One dream, 9 girls, and the moment someone falls behind, everything collapses. Nijigasaki did not just avoid that problem, they killed it. For a decade, idol anime ran on one formula. Muse needed to win Love Live. Aqours needed to save their school. One mission, one heartbeat. If one member doubts, the whole dream cracks. That is not a weakness, that is by design. The tension is the story, but it is also the ceiling. Every season, the same cycle. Unite, struggle, overcome. Unite, struggle, overcome. And every time the same failure point, one girl falls and the whole thing trembles. Then this happened. No competition, no school to save, no shared dream. Just 9 words on a notice board that broke every rule idol anime had ever written. Everyone deserves to shine in their own way. That is not just a motto. That is the charter, the foundation, the analytic key to everything that follows. But here is what nobody tells you about that charter. It was not just permission to succeed differently, it was permission to fail alone. And that is where the 9 failures begin. For 10 years, idol anime ran on a single engine: shared ambition, shared collapse. The blueprint was simple: one club, one dream, one crisis away from disaster. When Muse faced elimination, when Aqours saw their school on the chopping block, the answer was always the same: rally the group, sing together, save the day. The group's unity wasn't just emotional support, it was survival. If one girl stumbled, the whole dream teetered. Every setback threatened to bring down the entire house. That is not a flaw, it is the formula. The stakes were always collective. If Honoka burned out, Muse faltered. If Riko froze, Aqours lost their shot. The group's rescue song was more than a performance. It was a ritual, a reset button, a way to erase individual weakness through unity. Personal growth was measured by how fast you could rejoin the chorus. Individual struggle ended only when the group intervened. That is how tension was built and how it was always resolved. But that formula has limits. The ensemble save is both the heart and the ceiling of the genre. It keeps the story moving, but it also traps every character in the same cycle: fall, get saved, rejoin. The group is both safety net and key, and for years nobody questioned it. Nijigasaki burns the old rulebook in a single, silent stroke. On the clubroom wall, a new charter hangs that reads, "Everyone deserves to shine in their own way." This is not just set dressing, it is a manifesto. The camera lingers on that phrase, episode after episode, as if daring the audience to believe it. No more shared lifeboat, no more one dream fits all. Here, every girl gets her own stage, her own crisis, her own shot at falling flat. The series builds its structure around this promise. Each episode becomes a solo act, a spotlight, a stumble, a choice, while the rest of the club watches but does not intervene. The group does not rush in to erase mistakes or patch over embarrassment. Instead, the charter grants permission to fail out loud, to recover or not on your own terms. This is not a tweak. It is a deliberate counter-formula, a system that makes room for 9 separate failures, 9 different kinds of hope. The old safety net is gone. What is left is the freedom to risk everything alone. 9 girls, 8 failures, no rescue. The old system would have called for a group huddle, a tearful pep talk, a chorus to patch up the cracks. Nijigasaki refuses. The series lays out its argument in rapid fire. Every idol is granted the right to stumble, and every stumble is hers alone. Kasumi stands in an empty clubroom, clutching her handmade flyers after another failed recruitment. She bites her lip and mutters, "Maybe I'm just not good enough." And the others let the silence stand. Shizuku trips over her lines in an empty auditorium, her face flushed. Convinced she's lost both stage and spotlight, no one rushes in to save her. Karen faces down the student council, her pitch for originality falling flat. She exits with her head high, but the door closes behind her with no applause and no shoulder to lean on. Ai's jokes land with a thud. Her skateboard routine draws blank stares, and she is left pacing backstage, working out the punchline herself. She is alone in that moment. Kanata dozes off mid-rehearsal, missing entire routines, while the club simply shifts around her absence. The group adapts, but does not intervene. Satsuna's double life as idol and council president tightens like a knot. Her secret is exposed not by confrontation, but by her own confession. The knot pulls tight around her sense of duty. Emma, lost in homesickness, sits alone in the music room, wrestling with the urge to quit and return home. The club watches from a distance, offering space, not solutions. Rena, hidden behind her digital screen, freezes when the lights come up. Her voice fails her, but the room stays quiet. No one fills the silence but her. 8 setbacks, 8 moments when the group could have closed ranks but did not. Here, failure is not a crisis for the club to fix. It is a rite of passage, personal, unrescued, and necessary. The charter on the wall is more than words. It's a contract. Your shine, your struggle, your choice. Ayumu Uehara stands as Nijigasaki's living proof that the old rules are not just bent. They are buried. In episode 5, the stage is hers alone. No safety net, no chorus waiting in the wings. She steps into the spotlight for her first solo live, voice trembling, knees locked, the hall echoing with empty seats and the weight of her own expectations. The silence is not a threat, it is an invitation. Here, failure is not a shared burden, it is Ayumu's to own, to feel, to survive. The club does not rush in. There is no group hug, no rescue anthem, no ritual reset. She falters, stumbles through the opening verse, and the moment hangs in the air, raw and unresolved. In the old formula, this would be the cue for the ensemble to save her, to pull her back from the brink with a wall of sound and support. Nijigasaki refuses. The charter on the wall is not just a slogan, it is a challenge. Everyone deserves to shine in their own way. Ayumu's breakthrough does not arrive on schedule. It builds in silence, episode after episode, as she rehearses alone, doubts alone, dreams alone. The payoff lands on December 5th, 2020, when her solo is finally broadcast. In that hour, the internet erupts. 94,000 tweets flood the timeline, a tidal wave of reaction. 78% pulse with pride, relief, and joy. Fans do not cheer because Ayumu was rescued. They cheer because she rescued herself. The old model demanded dependence. Nijigasaki celebrates agency. Ayumu's arc is not a detour. It is the proof of concept. Here, triumph is earned, not granted. The group's silence is not abandonment, it is belief. When Ayumu finally stands tall, she does it for herself, and the world notices. So what keeps this experiment from collapsing under its own freedom? The answer is invisible, but essential. Yu Takasaki. She is not an idol, not a performer, not even a face on the posters. Yu stands at the edge of every rehearsal with her notebook open, quietly recording dreams that are not her own. She never takes the stage, but her presence is everywhere, a silent witness, a living archive, the friend who listens without judging. When a member falters, Yu does not leap in to fix the problem. She writes it down. She remembers. She believes. This is the backbone. Nijigasaki builds around, not a savior but a chronicler, a keeper of the group's scattered ambitions. But even Yu's support is not enough to hold 9 soloists together. That is where the subunits come in. Diver Diva, QU4RTZ and AZUNA are not random pairings. They are engineered collisions, each unit mapped to personality, voice, and vulnerability. Diver Diva throws Ayumu and Karin together, forcing rivalry to become harmony. QU4RT pulls in Kasumi, Shizuku, Rina, and Emma, weaving their anxieties into shared rehearsal rooms. AZUNA's trio, Ai, Kanata, Setsuna, channels chaos into playful energy. These units do not erase difference, they make difference the point. The club structure is a matrix, not a monolith. What holds Nijigasaki together is not a single dream, but a web of intersecting paths, each one witnessed, recorded, and respected. The result is a group that survives not by rescuing its weakest link, but by trusting each member to walk her own road. Notebook in hand, spotlight waiting. Numbers don't lie, and Nijagasaki's revolution is written in cold, hard data. Stack the crisis counts side by side. Muse had 18 group meltdowns, with only 3 handled solo. Aqours had 22 major setbacks, with just 2 resolved without a rescue chorus. Nijigasaki, 14 crises, 12 resolved by the individual, not the club. The pattern is unmistakable. Where the old guard defaulted to collective salvation, Nijigasaki turns the spotlight inward. The math is ruthless. For Muse and Aqours, over 80% of crises end with a group save. For Nijigasaki, 86% are solo recoveries. Sales and merchandise tell the story. First-year song sales, Muse, 180,000, Aqours, 215,000. Nijigasaki, 290,000. Merchandise numbers show gaps. Muse leads with a 2.1 times gap between the top and bottom sellers. Aqours stretches it to 2.4 times, but Nijigasaki pulls everyone closer, just 1.6 times. Fandom shifts too. On Reddit, Muse and Aqours rack up 2,340 posts about letting the team down, compared to Nijagasaki's 180. Flip the script. Finding My Own Path explodes from 620 to 3,200. When Ayumu's solo aired, Twitter spiked with 94,000 tweets, 78%, surging with pride. The verdict is in. This is not a tweak, it is a data-backed coup. Nijigasaki did not just change the formula, they buried it. The old formula demanded unity at all costs. Nijigasaki chose freedom. 9 girls, 9 failures, no rescue required. Today, idol anime faces a new reality. Individuality is not a weakness, but the engine of growth. You don't need permission to chase your dream. The revolution already happened. What's stopping you?